from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
New developments in the debate about Freeman High School's nickname. Will a debate about the school's name itself come next? And some encouraging news on the unemployment front in Henrico. We'll have details about those stories and more in today's Henrico News Minute for Friday, June 12th, 2020. It's brought to you today by the Lakeside Farmers Market.
And now for the news.
In response to hundreds of requests to change the nickname of Douglas Freeman High School from the Confederate-inspired Rebels, Principal John Marshall yesterday emailed the school's community to ask for input about the topic through a new website, freemanmascot.info. The Citizen was first to report the latest iteration of a growing movement to change the nickname. In his email yesterday, Marshall said, quote, "I believe my role is to listen to the community, make sure all sides are heard, and then build consensus on the right path forward for the students of DSF," end quote. He said a decision about whether to change the nickname or not will not be made on a popular vote, but rather on the input that is received through the site, which can come in written, audio, or visual form. He pledged to form a committee of community members, students, and staff members, which will use that input to make a determination about the future of the mascot and nickname. In addition to the website, you can email thoughts to freemanmascot@henrico.k12.va.us. 4 recent graduates of Freeman believe the debate about the school's nickname is misplaced. It's not the nickname that should be changed, they have written in a petition. It's the name of the school itself. The 4, who graduated between 2017 and 2019, contend that Douglas Southall Freeman himself does not deserve to have his name attached to the school that is seeking to promote equity among its student body. As of yesterday, their petition had collected almost 1,000 signatures. Well, Freeman was born in 1886 and was a journalist, author, and historian who's best known for his Pulitzer Prize-winning biographies of George Washington and Robert E. Lee, and for serving for 34 years as editor of the Richmond News Leader. But the alumni wrote that he's responsible for contributing to the Lost Cause ideology, a movement that sought to minimize the relationship between the Civil War and slavery. The alumni wrote, quote, "Freeman painted Lee and the Confederate soldiers as courageous and valiant men while warping and erasing the role of slavery and its harm and violence toward black people," end quote. The group wrote that, quote, "rampant second-generation segregation," end quote, still exists at the school, claiming the school's 2 cafeterias typically amounted to one for affluent white students and another for minorities, and that the school's newspaper and yearbook are, quote, "expensive and inaccessible to all students," end quote, and their staffs are overwhelmingly white, creating the same centering of white perspectives and documenting student lives that existed years ago. Now, you can read more about both of these Freeman High School stories right now on henricocitizen.com. Meanwhile, a group of Freeman students is planning a peaceful protest on the front lawn of the school today beginning at noon. Student speakers will discuss the effects of systemic racism on the school and its overall community and education in general in Henrico County, according to one of the organizers. The chief goal of the event, an organizer told the Citizen, is to foster discussion among school community members about how to support black students. For the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic began, the number of Henrico residents who filed initial unemployment claims during a 1-week reporting period slipped below 1,000 for the week ending June 6th. A total of 969 county residents filed for unemployment between May 31st and June 6th. That's according to data released yesterday by the Virginia Employment Commission. It was a decrease of about 8% from the prior week and the 9th straight week overall of decline for the county. In total, during the 12 weeks of reporting data collected since the pandemic began, more than 30,400 residents of Henrico have filed initial unemployment claims. But in the most recent week, just more than half of those people filed continuing claims, which could indicate that many have returned to work. Henrico has witnessed more first-time unemployment claims during the past 3 months than all but 6 other localities in the state. Statewide, slightly more than 29,000 people filed for unemployment for the first time during the most recent week, And overall, more than 753,000 Virginians have filed during the past 12 weeks. Some good news from GRTC yesterday as the company tested 145 employees on site on Monday, and none of them tested positive for COVID-19, according to officials. It was the first voluntary on-site testing event the company has conducted. Overall, the company has announced 13 confirmed cases of the virus among employees, most of them relatively mild. GRTC is paying for all virus testing that its employees undergo, whether on-site or off. Virginia colleges and universities will be reopening with similar guidelines to K through 12 schools, according to Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, who made the announcement during a press conference yesterday. They'll be subject to the same guidelines, including social and physical distancing, hygiene procedures, and disinfection measures. There will be a phased approach to reopening, just as there has been for the state at large and for K through 12 schools, Northam said. State Council of Higher Education Director Peter Blake said the safety of students, faculty, and staff are still a top priority during the phased reopenings. Blake said more classes are likely to be taught online, classes in person will be smaller, class schedules will be more staggered, and resident life will be spread out, while food services will be offered differently at most colleges and universities in the state. A traffic alert to keep in mind for early next week. Weather permitting, the Virginia Department of Transportation will close the ramp from Staples Mill Road north to I-64 west in Henrico from 11 p.m. on Monday to 6 a.m. Tuesday to facilitate roadway lighting installation. If inclement weather affects that work, the ramp may also be closed during the same time frame the following day. Some good news from Ginter Botanical Garden, which is planning to reopen in phases beginning June 25th. The garden will open to its members first in short increments from June 25th to 28th, then on July 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, and also July 9th through 12th. Members' visits are free, but they must reserve tickets. The garden says it will send an email to members June 19th to provide a link for those tickets, and will ask them initially to reserve only one visit, which could be used on those members-only days or later in the year. The garden then plans to reopen to the general public Thursday, July 16th. All tickets for the public will be timed, limited, and available online only. You'll be able to reserve them beginning next month. Each visit will be limited to 2 hours. The garden will be open Thursdays through Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Some portions will remain closed, such as the children's garden and the conservatory. Restrooms will be open, as will the garden shop and garden cafe, which will be operating under the state's Phase 2 directives. A new exhibit, M&T Bank Wind, Waves, and Light, will be part of the reopening and on display through October 18th. It features large-scale stainless steel sculptures that move and change with the wind. A reminder that if you know a graduate of the class of 2020, whether that is from high school, college, graduate school, or even elementary school, we want to help honor that person. This has been a crazy year for graduates, and we're trying to do our part to give them a little bit of exposure. You can visit henricocitizen.honormygrad.com and fill out a quick free form to tell us about your graduate, and then we'll display their information on henricocitizen.com so everyone in the county can learn a little bit about them. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by the Lakeside Farmers Market at 6110 Lakeside Avenue. It's open every Wednesday from 9 to 2 and Saturday from 9 to noon. Check it out tomorrow. Visit facebook.com/Lakeside Market RVA for details and a complete list of vendors.